Hello, beautiful family. Finally, I get back to you. And I don't know how it is for you, but these last 1.5 months have been quite intense in regard to inner work, introspection, and with the Horfirst nights, Rauhnächte, over the Christmas days and the change of the year. It was really, really intense and a lot to revisit. And at the moment, I still feel somehow that we are all in a hold and that we have to wait, although we had the intuition to go for it in the beginning of this year. It is not yet happening, and we gotta be more patient for a little longer. But yeah, I am reaching out today because I wanted to share my deep insight. We observe war, everyone against everyone in the world right now, which is our karma, our collective karma coming up in between all the different fractals that we are, from cosmic and from worldly origin with the seed races that we have been. And what is the uniting focus and why are we here as we are? We are all human beings, right? And this is the smallest minimal common that we can agree on. And I shared this yesterday already. And that's what we need to do right now. We all have been hybridized, and there are a lot of people in the spiritual community who are all love and light and who just don't want to see their own darkness. But, at this time point, this is so important to go for it. And I will explain why. Because we are all here with these fallen aspects. Let's call it fallen aspects. And that's why our ancestors chose us to be the ones who take care of that in these times. And we are becoming the leaders by that, because we are uniting the ancestry, all the different ancestry that we carry within. And we cannot say, okay, our soul is from this or that origin. Of course it is, or it has been. But does it really matter is the question. Why are we here as human beings rather weak in comparison to the skills we once were holding? It's very easy, because we are here in this state to unite and have the same avatar. We have the same avatar. We have this aura theme avatar, this very powerful one where we can activate everything when we go into surrender to the source, to the God source, to the Most High. And that means that we have to give up our ego, that is Satan. Within, this is Satan. And we have the decision maker, our mind within, that sheds the light on our darkness, which is internally Lucifer. And this is always the question that we ask ourselves, this little voice within. Do we go for our desire? Do we go with the ego? Or do we go with our higher guidance of soul, with the Christ? So this is the internal process. That's why I recommend that we put aside all the scripture in these times and don't fight about the content anymore. Allow people to express their point of view, allow people to express their truths and get inspired. And even if that means you don't agree, and you can say, okay, no, this is not for me, but I see your point and it is valid how you explain it. Rather ask for a better understanding than attack. And that's how we can resolve all the conflict in the world. Because when everyone takes their own responsibility and goes within, and I put a video below here, I shared already from Ix'Vhaun, where she speaks about all of that. When we go within, we resolve our part to the process. As shadow workers, as healers, we cannot do it for everyone. We cannot even heal an individual, because we can just show the way and be a channel for the divine will, for the divine force flowing through us. That then touches your heart, that then grants you the space that you need to behold in to see for yourself. And this is our calling, this is our work that we do as healers when we are of service to you. And that's why I was offering my services and invited you. And at the moment I'm operating in Europe, and I will come by wherever it is needed. And it would be really, really beautiful to co-create with you. In case you need a healer to come by, a medicine man, who I am, please reach out and organize an event for you and your people. It's not that I'm too lazy to organize something for a crowd, but I don't feel that this way, this modus operandi is working anymore. So there has to be the desire, divinely guided, of an individual who wishes to do healing, and then this individual can reach out and I will attend. That's using the magnetism of bidirectional attraction, right? And let's switch to that modus. That's what I want to add here. So back to the why we are humans. Because, you know, as a human being, we integrated, or we have integrated within our DNA all of this old wisdom. We have in our shadow part, in our body, which is the divine feminine and our feeling, we have the ancestors. And this is the DNA. And then we have our mind, our higher mind, which is the future, which is the divine masculine, the information with the construction plan. So the task of our feminine side, so to say, is to take away the illusion that comes along with the future. And the task of the divine masculine, that coming as the light into our own darkness, into the void, is to highlight what is there to be built. So this is internal co-creation of light and darkness, the dance of light and darkness that creates love. And by that, the three. And this is when we go with that in surrender, and we are still allowed to go with the ego, with the lower ego as well, and fulfill our desires. That's always allowed, but it will be a detour. And it might be necessary from here and there, because it is always necessary in case our soul wishes to learn new lessons and enlarge itself in a terrain where the lessons are not learned yet. And for that we have the darkness. We have this modus of creating karma that then is there to create us the lessons and the outcome. Right? So being here as humanity, with all our flaws, that is the karma, that is the wrongdoing of past and present time, is a big, big opportunity. When we understand how to deal with these energies correctly, and when we take the responsibility to work through that. And from all aspects within, and the mechanisms are published here on the channel, we unfold this density within the DNA, within our own traumas that we carried forth from past life, to experience it in a weaker form this life again, to be seen for what they are. I hear a lot of times, oh man, this is not really correct when you say you have to bear this, or it's your own fault, right? And it is somehow not your own fault as the human being that you are this life, but it is what you decided as a soul before you came here again in reincarnation to be solved by you, as the keys that you are holding to remove these energies from the collective field, by unpacking the karma and creating dharma out of that and liberation for yourself. And when we find the might, and when we find the destination and the strength to go into that, to take the responsibility, you will see in the beginning it might be scary a little bit or uncomfortable, but over time it really becomes easygoing. It will be your daily routine, so to say. And when you have cleared a big portion of that, it will be in flow that you receive your own life path from that, what is stored in the DNA and what soul brings via the divine masculine mind from the future. This will be the pathless path of life that is forming while you walk it. Always in surrender and following your guidance and intuition. Where we come to the correct order, which is that the light falls in, and from there arises the feeling and the clarity from the divine feminine side into the heart, which is in lead, which is the one, our inner matriarchy, so to say, to then have the clear voyance and the clear guidance that arises yet again to the mind that we project to the outside as our reality, where the mind becomes the two as an empty tool, because we don't need to overthink anymore how we make things possible. We just follow flow. So in the inner world, we have a matriarchy, every one of us. It doesn't matter if it is a man or a woman. And in the outer world, we will use the word in co-creation and our boundaries and our action to bring it into this reality, which is the divine masculine in the outer world, which is a patriarchy still, but not in the meaning of an externally applied force that forces everyone to behave in a certain way. And the same will be applicable in regard to the money system and to many, many more dualisms that we observe in our reality nowadays. We will become socialists in our heart from the deep understanding and integration that all life matters the same. So we are not forcing and mistreating life of any kind anymore. That means to be socialist, a social being. And thereby, in the outer world, a capitalism in natural order will work perfectly, because what does capitalism mean? We have an energy that is transferable from one form into another that we can use to play with, which would be money nowadays, right? But this money system at the moment is created in a way that the ones who hold it and who lend it to create with this energy become ever more richer, and by that it accumulates and it does not flow. But when everyone did their inner work and thereby became a socialist in the heart and knows about the natural order of life itself, we know that the one who gives the most will receive automatically the most. And my example for that is a huge tree. In a wasteland, let's say in a wasteland, this tree has the roots deep inside of earth, so it can draw the water from there, even if it doesn't rain. It has fruits, it has flowers, it has everything to offer, shadow. So all the animals will go there, all the life will be around this tree, around this oasis that gives unconditionally. And by that, this tree will produce fruits that are eaten and the seeds that are carried away by the birds and by other animals who eat the tree's fruits, and will seed this tree to other places. So in life itself, the advantage in reproduction is strength. And this is the example how the abundance needs to be turned into something natural, like it is actually when we have a look at nature and she gives us unconditionally. So these are some sorts, and especially that you can make peace with your being here as a human, to appreciate it and find that we don't need to look outside of us anymore with the mind to try to understand the scripture of the religions, of theosophy, of philosophy. This is all really beautiful storytelling that you can exchange by the campfire and talk about it and get inspired, but nothing more. It is not the truth. There is the truth contained in some scripture, of course, but we will be in the need to be really clairvoyant to unwrap that for ourselves, to activate our own triggers within that really activate our growth of soul. The way more reliable part is to go into the own void with your own light from the Omega to the Alpha. And from there unfold your personal truth that then arises and creates the path of life that you came to become. That's the signification of Yahweh. I will put also this entry that I created down here. And with that, I wish to motivate you. Please take these times that feel like chewing gum for many of us, to do the introspection honestly, to do the healing honestly, to undergo this process. And don't be afraid of nothing that you will find. And once again, when we are in this process, from time to time or many times, it helps to go out into nature and ground ourselves. I observe this especially in the men who are constantly with their mind somewhere and receiving so much information now from the artificial intelligence to communicate this stuff, and really high vibing knowledge that is hundreds of years away until the moment that we do our own integration and thereby be entitled to stand and integrate that. Please, especially you, do the grounding. And this is something I observe for the older consciousness of love and light, especially in identifying like that. Many of you didn't do your shadow work properly, and now you're suffering with the high influx of energy. And that shows within the body, with pains and aches and with tiredness. Also you, when you are maintaining a really high frequency all the time, you cannot get into your shadow. But this is where you have to tidy up and take responsibility now, like every one of us. When we are doing that collectively in these times, we also contribute to healing the world. And this needs to be known. Everyone, for their own line of ancestry, for their own soul. And like that we solve the game. And we will see that all the turmoil, all the chaos in the world, in the outside, will be brought into order, but by everyone in particular, with their own topics to find their own truth. The creation of Dharma, of the rules that are in alignment with the law of one, from the own karma, from the darkness. And that's becoming the inner alchemist, where you create your own light, refract your own light from your own darkness. And like that, you obtain liberation. I'm here for you in service in case you need it. And I wish everyone a beautiful week and a grand rising, fearless in self-love and self-appreciation, even for the stuff you will find that is not so positive. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Have a great time. For peace on earth. Loka samasta sukhinu bhavantu. Shalom and namaste.